talking about. Kind of long. Yeah, it's like yeah, it's right here, 48 minutes. I'll think about it, but we'll pull it up. All right. Let us start with some news.
Police in Compton investigating a shooting that left 2 people dead. Police in Compton investigating a shooting that left 2 people dead.
KTLA's Carlos Herrera is live on scene with the details. Carlos, good morning.
Good morning, Chris and Megan. Authorities removed the crime tape from this area. They actually cleared this intersection. It's now back open for traffic early this morning after a nearly 9-hour investigation here at the scene. But let's get you some better idea of what was going on here overnight with this scene. Homicide investigators arriving here, centering their investigation around that 2-door Toyota sedan in this area with that front windshield completely covered. We also saw family and friends of the 2 victims gathering here near the scene. It was shortly after 7 last night when deputies with the LA County Sheriff's Department were called to reports of a shooting on West Caldwell Street and South Central Avenue near Caldwell Street Elementary School. When they got here, they found the 2 women with several gunshot wounds. One of them, according to investigators, was inside the Toyota. They were pronounced dead on scene. Homicide investigators then began their investigation. They cannot confirm at this point if the 2 victims were related and what exactly led to this shooting. It's also unclear if any suspects remain at large right now. Again, we're working with investigators to get more information on what exactly happened here. As we come back out here live, we're seeing some shattered glass still here in the middle of this intersection, Chris and Megan. But homicide investigators with the LA County Sheriff's Department want witnesses to come forward with any helpful information. For now, we'll send it back to you in Hollywood.
Well, there you have it. Would add Trump's face on Mount Rushmore. Wow.
No! God, please, no! 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 God! No!
Doug Burgum says there's room for Donald Trump's face to be carved on Mount Rushmore. HR 792 to direct the Secretary of Interior to arrange for the carving. No. No, this can't be right. Fox News host Laura Trump asks White House official if Donald Trump will be put on Mount Rushmore.
The National Park Service is in charge of Mount Rushmore. A lot of people wonder, will we ever see President Trump's face on Mount Rushmore? What do you think?
Well, they certainly have room for it there.
We certainly have room for it there.
It's unbelievable. I can't even believe it.
We love living Jesus. Let's pull out a question card here randomly. What makes life worth living? I'm gonna get Luigi. Oh, he jumped there to hold on to that card. Let's see if we
Luigi,
can answer
God
again
damn
at
it.
random. Oh, what's this one? Oh, that's that's awful.
All right, guys, we're about 6 weeks in. Who's gonna do it? one for the team and do it. And I'm not gonna say what it is, because I know that you know that I know what we're all thinking.
Is she okay?
Who's gonna do it? It can't be me. I'm a dance teacher.
Canada has the greatest fence ever built.
Why are some of these people
America.
fucking schizo?
It is foolproof if you can afford it. Really easy
Hey,
to be
Tosh
the cool, open-minded
2.0.
hippie country when there's a Kevlar snuggie of America draped around your fat, frozen asses.
Holy Toledo.
Jesus, he was going fucking hard on that one. My God. Does he still do comedy? I'm surprised he was. I didn't even know he was there. Oh yeah, Daniel Tosh. That was his. Eh. Oh, apparently he still does shows from time to time. Oh yeah. He's playing at the April 4th Beacon Theater, New York. That's cool. So he still does gigs. Yeah, I didn't know what happened after Comedy Central. Or after his show on 2.0 or well, whatever is Tosh.0. Oh, it was on Pluto TV now. Interesting. Okay.
Voters' views of the Democrats in Congress among all voters disapprove 68%. And look at the approve number, just 21%. Even
Why did he just change his accent right there? Look at the approve number.
21%, even lower than the Democratic Party at large. This is the lowest, even lower approve number, just %.
Look
And
at the approve number.
Just 21%, even lower than the Democratic. Holy Toledo. Voters'
Holy
views of the Democrats
Toledo.
in Congress among all voters disapprove
Fucking guy.
68%. And look at the approve number, just
Look at the. He literally changed his accent all of a sudden right there. Look at the approve number. Fucking. Goddamn Bostonian.
The plurality of Democratic voters disapprove of Democrats in Congress at 49%, and just 40% approve. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Oh my goodness gracious, you just can't get worse.
Hi, I'm Rosie, Texas English teacher and transgender goddess. Here
Oh God.
with just a couple of thoughts about some gender euphoria.
I don't
never
even
had
want
the opportunity to say
fucking
goodbye
run, dude.
to my students. This happened so quickly I was not allowed back in the classroom.
The Netflix actor? The actual killers. Yeah, I don't know why they did that. It was so... It didn't make any sense. Why not just put someone who's actually black to put... I don't know why race swap. It doesn't make... I don't know why Netflix does the race swapping. It just doesn't make sense. No point. The future president. Oh. God damn it. I'm surprised Hillary Clinton even made a meme of fucking... I don't even know if this is Hillary Clinton. I mean, it looks like it is. Adios, bichachos. Hasta luego. fucking cornditos. That sounds fucking. A frela. As a black man, I approve this picture. Amiga. Uh, 26. Oh wait, I think there's. Oh shit, I forgot to. There it is. Oops.
I'm about to go to the Senate
Time
floor
to speak
where
up.
I intend to be recognized, and when I am, I am not going to stop speaking.
Yeah, you did speak for like 25 hours straight for some reason, which didn't amount to anything.
Hours later.
Trump marking the longest ever on the Senate floor. This was not needed.
John?
Would the senator yield for a question?
Chuck Schumer, it's the only time in my life I can tell you no.
I just want to tell you a question. Do you know you have just broken the record? Do you know how proud this caucus is of you? Do you know how proud America is of you?
Is that fucking Schumer? Oh my god, get the fuck out. You old fuck. I'm fucking Chuck Schumer in the back. Do you know how proud America is of you? Get the fuck out of here, you fucking faggots. Jesus. Or rushes to the bathroom after breaking Senate speech record. Oh, I bet. He probably had the shits, man. What is it? Oh. Sarah McBride has a meltdown over proxy vote cancellation.
Republican leadership is
Oh, yeah, this
throwing
lady,
a temper tantrum. They just canceled votes for the rest of the week,
this
shut down the
dude
floor of the House
who
of
turned
Representatives
lady.
for the next several days, all in an effort to stop the House from allowing new parents in Congress to vote by proxy.
Yeah,
So they can spend time with their new babies or
You can't-
recover from childbirth.
What?
Over the last several months, there has been a bipartisan effort to allow new parents in Congress to spend time with their new babies and to vote by proxy. House Republican leadership has tried to stop this effort every step of the way. Today, they actually just lost a vote trying to prevent proxy voting from coming to the floor.
I don't know why this person is talking about women's rights when this person can't even have a baby biologically. I don't know what is this person talking. God damn. I don't mean to be mean, but I don't think this person should be talking.
And because they lost that vote, they're taking their ball and going home. They're canceling all of the votes moving forward this week. Now, granted, what they were putting on the floor for the rest of the week is not good stuff, so we should be grateful that the used. But it's amazing that the Republican Party, which used to pride itself on being pro-family, is so anti-baby, so anti-family, so pro-forced birth, but not pro-supporting parents, that they would down the House of Representatives just to keep new parents, new moms, new dads from being able to spend time with their babies.
What are you even... Huh? What are you talking about? Is this for the people or for you weirdos? I'm confused at what you're trying to push, you fucking retard. Oh, I'm just trying to push this thing that I don't know. I just want to push it. What the fuck are you talking about? Also, you're talking to the wrong person. I don't fucking... That's not... I don't give a shit about that. How are you going to sway someone who does not give a shit about you or your fucking policies? You're not my representative. Get the fuck out of here. Take a hike, bitch boy.
The filibuster in a long period, early 1900s to the 1970s, was used on average one time a year. It was a rarely invoked thing. Right. It wasn't invoked in Supreme Court justices. It wasn't invoked for a lot of major pieces of legislation. It began to be abused, especially with Mitch McConnell, really taking the filibuster to a whole new level under Barack Obama. So to say that that Joe Biden has changed, the real change you need to point to is the way the modern Republican Party picked up the filibuster and so abused it to the point now where many of us are...
Didn't you just... Didn't you just filibuster? I'm confused.
To a whole new level under Barack Obama. Of us are
yeah, even Barack Obama wanted to filibuster a lot too. He even was like, let's repeal the filibuster, because he got slapped by it so much.
Ridiculous. We're stopping some fundamental progress in our country that the majority of people agree with. We need to revisit this filibuster.
Democratic Senator Cory Booker is just about to break the record for longest filibuster. We want to look at this live right now. This is a live look at the House floor. The New Jersey senator has officially been speaking for about 24 hours and 19 minutes straight.
The real change you need to point to is the way the modern Republican Party picked up the filibuster and so abused it to the point now where many of us are saying this is ridiculous.
Says the person who just went up there for like 25 hours for some fucking reason.
The record held by the late Senator Strom Thurmond, who filibustered for 24 hours and 18 minutes in 1957 in opposition of the Civil Rights Act.
I just want to tell you a question. Do you know you have just broken the record? Do you know how proud this caucus is of you? Do you know how proud America is of you?
No, really, I don't give a fuck.
I'm here to tell you
I would have hoped you fucking croaked at the stand.
Where many of us are saying this is ridiculous. We're stopping some fundamental progress in our country that the majority of people agree with. We need to revisit this filibuster.
Hush up, boy.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's been 84 years.
Just been 80.
That's enough, guys.
Yeah, since the last guy who did it for like, what, 24 hours and like 19 minutes? On the civil rights, opposing civil rights, apparently. And the wokeness.
You've been gracious. Is this. When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy.
God. Should hire me because I'm black. Are you fucking retarded? Why would you say that? You sound like, what's her face? Cori Bush and her, I have the power of God and faith. I can heal anyone. That dumb bitch. I waved my hand over her cancer and she was healed. She was magically healed. Oh my god. A whore. Other countries have been hitting us with tariffs for decades. Trump hits back and the left loses their minds. Fair trade isn't oppression, snowflakes. Are these all the reciprocal tariffs on all the countries? Trump said he had to walk back like some of them because if he reciprocated some of the tariffs, it would probably fuck up that country really hard. So as you can see, he didn't reciprocate Nicaragua, right? I mean, he could have, but all he did was half it. So he probably only halved, right? He halved Norway. He halved certain ones because it would probably fuck them up pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah, you could see Jordan's half. Costa Rica isn't technically halved, but it's close. But yeah, Ecuador. Oh, that one's not half. Yeah. And China, 34% over 67. Yeah, you have everything charged to the U.S. and then all the U.S. Reciprocal and then discounted tariffs if need be. Almost every major country charges a high tariff on American goods. So Trump is issuing equal treatment right back, except at only half the cost if other countries drop their tariffs. We'll drop ours and if they drop them, companies will be built in America. Oh yeah, that's right. Some of them did drop their tariffs too. Because yeah. Huh. That one's always a good one of Shane Gillis. Fucking motherfucker good. Oh, Mr. McConnell. What happened, brother? Rapid response 47. Send Bernie Moreno. President Trump's plan to make Trump tax cuts permanent, end taxes on overtime, Social Security, and tips, cut regulation, unleash energy, plus higher wages and result tariffs, induce massive treatment, is a recipe for America's new golden age. The Golden Age. You're going to see greatest renaissance of manufacturing in America. Tired of having them built in Taiwan. We're tired of having them built in South Korea. It's time for these things to be built in America. Tariff announcement. Discloses national emergency to increase our competitive edge, protect our sovereignty, and strengthen our national economic security. I'm guessing this goes to, yeah. Oh god. Ah, my eye. So white. Anyways. Oh, there he is signing it. It is now an executive order. There it is.
You have Australia bans, and they're wonderful people and wonderful everything, but they ban American beef, yet we imported $3 billion of Australian beef from them just last year alone. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to
Australian
affect
beef?
their
Why are we
farmers.
buying? Why are we buying from
But
Australia?
we're doing the same thing right now, starting
Well, I mean, I guess
tonight, I would say.
I guess you could say they're kind of closer.
You have Australia bans, and they're wonderful people.
Then
and
going to like
wonderful
Japan
everything,
or
but they
other
ban
countries.
American beef. Yet we imported $3 billion of Australian beef from them just last year alone. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want.
Oh, we already just saw this. President Trump. Mitch McConnell voted with Senate Democrats to terminate President Trump's tariffs on Canada, 51 to 48. The House must block this. McConnell's brain dead and shouldn't have a vote to begin with. What the fuck? Why is Senate citing? Yeah, I mean, our House and Senate have been, yeah, weird, to be honest. Hmm. Hmm. Nothing really that interesting. Apparently they blocked his tariffs to Canada for some reason. But they allowed it for every other country. What is going on? What the fuck is happening?
To have the sitting attorney general go on, and I'm gonna call it faux news. I know some of y'all love it, but it's fake to me. To have her go on Fox News and to then decide that she wanted to send a threat to me, it was wrong. Because here it is, she is
Bitch,
the
you're
highest law
racist.
enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information.
I'm surprised you even
and they are
got selected in
believing
goddamn
that simply because
Texas.
I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing, that she then wanted to then politicize something that should not be politicized. I don't like Elon Musk. I'm going to say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating a...
Well, I mean, that's because you guys are targeting him. Literally. What do you mean?
above the law. For whatever
you see how
reason,
many
just
people are
because he
getting
has a lot of
targeted
money,
just because
more
they have
money than
Teslas?
everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him because he is a problem. And so you never should have somebody that is sitting.
She said around the world. I'm pretty sure around the world people don't dislike him that much. It's basically only people in America and the few politicians who are being fucking weirdos.
That high and is going to sit up here and threaten a sitting member of Congress when she knew good and well, if she watched the entire thing, that I specifically told protesters to make sure you consult with lawyers, just like I've told protesters over and over and over in the history of me advising people to go out and exercise their constitutional right. The fact that there are other sitting members that have received letters of threat from this new DOJ tells me that they are about retribution and they are not about following the law.
What? What is she talking about? One of the greatest minds in politics right now? Fucking Thomas. Who attend the premier day school in Missouri, if not in the entire Midwest, and the fake accents and mannerisms of girl from Compton? Yeah. Yeah. That's basically like AOC when she does her weird fucking accent sometimes. She is a DEI hire. Yep. Jasmine Crockett, Fannie Willis. Jesus. Holy fuck. If those two got together and ran for the presidency, oh my god. Right, for the presidency and vice presidency, holy shit. I think America would fucking implode. Those two are fucking retarded. Those people will definitely run America to the greatest. To the greatest, yes.
They're trying to do, but we, the people,
are powerful. We are strong. We have changed history. We have bent the arc of the moral universe. And now is that moral moment again. It's the moral moment again. God bless America. We need you now. God bless America. If you love her, if you love your neighbor, if you love this country, show your love. Stop them from doing what they're trying to do for almost 20 hours.
Almost 20
hours.
hours.
Trying to do 20 hours. I want to stand more, and I will.
I want to stand more, and I will. Come on, America, we need you. Look what they're doing.
We don't have any votes on our side. We need you. Please vote for. Please side with us. Don't side with Trump. Side with us, please. I've been standing up here for 25 hours.
We need you.
We need you.
Look at what they're doing. RFK. Elon.
I'm kidding. Oh, I'm a faggot. Oh, Elon. Oh, shit. Fucking hell. I'm gay. Oh, shit. Oh my god. Yeah, all that talk. Yeah, literally talked for 25 hours and did fuck all. Is that what you want your filibuster to be? Jesus Christ. So bad. What was a Booker? CB retard? I'm a douche. Some of these people are fucking retarded. I'd rather just slit their throats. I'm sorry, I'm someone who fucking hates retarded people, and I'd rather just fucking just end them. I'd rather just end them. Just because, yeah, they're just annoying. They're fucking retarded and annoying.
The United States will implement reciprocal
All they do
tariffs
is
on
be stupid
other nations.
and then try to fight you on everything.
It's been a long time since we even thought of that. But we will charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us. So the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that, yes, but it would have been tough for a lot of countries who didn't want to do that. I'd like to see the chart if you have it. Could you bring it up, Howard?
Uh-oh, here's
This
the
is
chart.
our great Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thanks, Howard. So, if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything, but now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. we're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough. Great people. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk or whichever desk they chose. But you see the numbers. The numbers are so disproportionate. They're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart. And that'll be on other countries to help rebuild our economy and to prevent cheating. So we're going to have a minimum of cheating, and we're going to be very severe on the people that at the gate that watch the tariffs and watch the product coming in, because there's been a lot of bad things happening at the gate because the money is so enormous that you're talking about. There's never been probably anything like it in terms of the enormity, and there are a lot of bad things happen at the people that do the check-in, and they're looking at 10-year jail sentences if they do play. We're going to treat them so good, but if they cheat, the repercussions are going to be extremely strong. Foreign nations will finally be asked to pay for the privilege of access to our market, the biggest market in the world. We're right now the biggest market in the world. We had a great country 4 years ago in terms of the economics. We were doubling up on China. We were doing so well. Nobody was going to catch us, but so much of it slipped away over the last 4 years under Biden. I campaigned on this policy throughout last year, and today that promise was made, and it was also a promise, as you know, that was kept. Promises made, promises kept.
There it is. He said the thing. I guess we'll watch it. I think we'll speed it up, though.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Nice crowd. What a good-looking group of people. Well, we have some very, very good news today, and a lot of good things are happening for our country. Please sit down. My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time.
Liberation Day.
April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day
Judgment
American
Day?
industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. We're going to make it wealthy, good and wealthy.
There it is. Make America
For
wealthy
decades, our
again.
country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far, both friend and foe alike. American steelworkers, auto workers, farmers, and skilled craftsmen. We have a lot of them here with us today. They really suffered gravely. They watched in anguish as foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our factories, and foreign scavengers have torn apart our once beautiful American dream. We had an American dream that you don't hear so much about. You did 4 years ago, and you are now, but you don't too often, and for many years and decades even, you didn't hear too much about. Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen. In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal. That means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple. Can't get any simpler than that. This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper, and in so doing, use trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our taxes and pay down our national debt, and it'll all happen very quickly. With today's action, we are finally going to be able to make America great again, greater than ever before.
Greater again.
Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country, and you see it happening already. We will supercharge our
Bringing
domestic
back
industrial base. We
factories.
will pry open foreign markets and break down foreign trade barriers. And ultimately, more production at home will mean stronger competition and lower prices for
Breaking
consumers.
barriers of
This will
foreign
be indeed
adversaries,
the golden
more
age of America. It's
competition,
coming back. We're going to come
more
back very
production
strongly.
in the home court.
We're pleased to be joined on this momentous occasion by Vice President J.D. Vance.
More
JD, thank you.
self-independence.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Independency.
Where are you, J.D.? No, that wasn't too hard to find. I was looking, he likes to take a low-key attitude, so usually we sit right in front. He's gaining a lot of confidence, Mike, isn't he? And nearly my
J.D.
entire
Vance is
cabinet
there.
is here, as well as Speaker Mike Johnson, who's done an amazing job. And with the great success we had last night in Florida, we have a majority of 7. And 7's like a lot when we had it at 1, right? You've done a fantastic job. And many of the members of the House and Senate are with us. Senators, Congressmen, thank you all for being with us. We appreciate it. For decades, the United States slashed our trade barriers on other countries, while those nations placed massive tariffs on our products and created outrageous non-monetary barriers to decimate our industries. And in many cases, the non-monetary barriers were worse than the monetary ones. They manipulated their currency, subsidized their exports, stole our intellectual property, imposed exorbitant VAT taxes to disadvantage our products, adopted unfair rules and technical standards, and created filthy pollution havens. They were absolutely filthy, but they came to us and they said, we're violating, we should pay for it. It's all detailed in a very big report by the U.S. Trade Representative on foreign trade barriers, and I'll just hold it up for you. It's available, and you don't have to pay too much. As I understand it, you'll pay nothing. It's a lot of work for something, actually, because it's a special book. It's frankly, it's very upsetting when you read it, when you see what people have been doing to us for 30 years. This all happened with no response from the United States of America, none whatsoever. But those days are over. Let me offer just a few examples of the vicious attacks our workers have faced for so many years. The United States charges other countries only a 2.4 tariff on motorcycles. Meanwhile, Thailand and others are charging much higher prices, like 60%. India charges 70%. Vietnam charges 75%, and others are even higher than that. Likewise, until today, the United States has for decades charged a 2.5 tariff. Think of that, 2.5%. On foreign-made automobiles. The European Union charges us more than 10% tariffs, and they have 20% VATs, much, much higher. India charges 70%, and perhaps worst of all are the non-monetary restrictions imposed by South Korea, Japan, and very many other nations. As a result of these colossal trade barriers, 81% of the cars in South Korea are made in South Korea. 94% of the cars in Japan are made in Japan. Toyota sells 1 million foreign-made automobiles into the United States, and General Motors sells almost none. Ford sells very little. None of our companies are allowed to go into other countries. And I say that, friend and foe. And in many cases, the friend is worse than the foe in terms of trade. But such horrendous imbalances have devastated our industrial base and put our national security at risk. I don't blame these other countries at all for this calamity. I blame former presidents and past leaders who weren't doing their job. They let it happen. And they let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles. Thank you. Brian, I'd like to have you come up here for a second, okay? I just see him sitting. He's been a fan of ours, and he understands this business a lot better than the economists, a lot better than anybody. Brian, say a few words, please, would you? Thank you. It's a great honor to have you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I grew up just north of Detroit, Michigan, in Macomb County, in Democrats. My first vote for president was for Ronald Reagan. I thought that was going to be the best president I ever saw in my lifetime until Donald J. Trump came along. I have watched my entire life, I have watched plant after plant after plant in Detroit and in the metro Detroit area close. There are now plants sitting idle. There are now plants that are underutilized, and Donald Trump's policies are going to bring product back into those underutilized plants. There's going to be new investment. There's going to be new plants built. And the UAW members, and I brought 20 of them with me, they're sitting right over here. We support Donald Trump's policies on tariffs 100%. So, Mr. President, we can't thank you enough. And in 6 months or a year, we're going to begin to see the benefits. I can't wait to see what's happening 3 or 4 years down the road. Thank you, Mr. President.
There you have it.
What a great guy. He got it right from the beginning. He got it before almost anybody else. This group over there, they got it too. And, you know, we won the state of Michigan. We won almost all of them. But we won Michigan by a lot, and I want to just thank you all. The auto workers were fantastic.
Yeah,
the
gotta love
Teamsters were
streamers
fantastic.
and them lying
was
about their
pretty
setup.
good, I will tell you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're going to be very happy very soon, and you probably see what's happening with all of the, not only car companies, but car companies in particular. You see it with all of the ones they're moving, they're announcing day in, day out. You're seeing it. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. With today's actions, we're also standing up for our great farmers and ranchers who are brutalized by nations all over the world.
That's funny. Aiden Ross's
Canada, by the way, imposes
streaming
a
setup
250
room
to
is in his
300%
fucking
tariff
warehouse.
on many of our dairy products. They do the first can of milk. They do the first little carton of milk at a very low price, but after that it gets bad, and then it gets up to 275, 300%. So when they're figuring what's Canada charging, they say, oh, about 2%, 3%.
Everything.
But take a look at what happens down the road when you look a little bit.
Literally
it's not a
just a
picture,
display
and we don't like
room
it, and it's
for
not
him to
fair.
do.
It's not fair to our farmers. It's not fair to our country. And with countries like Canada, you
What
know,
a
we subsidize a lot of
piece of
countries and
shit.
keep them going and keep them in business. In the
I'm
case
sorry,
of
I
Mexico,
just
it's
don't like
$300
fake streamers.
billion a year. In the case of Canada, it's close to $200 billion a year.
Man, they play.
And
They
say,
play
why are we
too
doing
many
this?
games.
Why are we doing this? I mean,
And
at
you
what
don't
point
know
do we
if
say
they're trustworthy.
you got to work for yourselves?
Same
And
with
you gotta,
fucking
this is why we have
ICOC
the big
and
deficits. This is
Kaizen
why we
and all
have
those
that
other fucking people.
amount of debt that's been placed on
Those
our
people are
heads
just
over the last
untrustworthy.
number of years, and we're really not taking it anymore. Through non-tariff
Well, I mean,
barriers, the
at
European
least
Union
the,
bans imports of most American poultry.
the paid
You understand?
promotion
They say,
they're getting.
we want to send you our cars, we want to send you everything, but we're not going to take anything that you have. Australia
As
bans,
otherwise,
and
I
they're
guess.
wonderful people and wonderful everything, but they ban
though they
American beef,
fucking
yet we imported
ruin,
$3
like, their
billion
own fucking
of
houses
Australian
and
beef
shit.
from them just last year alone. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers. And you know what? I don't blame them, but we're doing the same thing right now, starting about midnight tonight, I would say. And China charges American rice farmers an overquota, it's called, a tariff rate of 65%. South Korea charges 50. Actually, they charge different, from 50% to 513%. And Japan, our friend, charges us 700%. But that's because they don't want us selling rice, another thing. Who can blame them, Madam Secretary? Agriculture, great job you did on eggs, by the way. The egg prices came down 50%. You got them down 50% once we got involved. They were going through the sky. The egg prices, they were going through the sky, and you did a fantastic job. Now we have lots of eggs, and they're much cheaper, down about 59% now, and they're going down further. We charge 2.8% for so many things that other countries are charging 200%, 300%, and 400% for. If imposing tariffs and protective barriers made nations poor, then every country on earth would be racing to eliminate these policies, and China would be the first in line. They run a very strong country, but they're not first in line, and the American people are paying a very big price. From 1789 to 1913,
Hold on, I'm sorry. Did they really fucking do that? No. Why are these? Why are you fucking people so retarded? Yeah. Why did XQC get it? You guys are so fucking stupid. I know it's an April Fool's joke, but it's oh, you guys are.
we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. So wealthy, in fact, that in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that a nice problem to have? What do you think, Marco? Good problem? Marco would love that problem. But we don't have that problem anymore, but we're not going to have it very much longer, I will tell you. But they collected so much money, they actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do with the money, who they were going to give it to, and how much. Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries, would start paying the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression. And it would have never happened if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late. Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time. The ramp system, that's rather intricate, was built because of him. And every time you walk up, you think of him. And he did a great job in many ways, but it lasted long beyond his terms, as you know. But it's not too late any longer, and we're going to start being smart, and we're going to start being very wealthy again. We're going to be wealthy as a country because they've taken so much of our wealth away from us. We're not going to let that happen. We truly can be very wealthy. We can be so much wealthier than any country. It's not even believable, but we're getting smart. Nearly a century later, in the face of unrelenting economic warfare, the United States can no longer continue with a policy of unilateral economic surrender. We cannot pay the deficits of Canada, Mexico, and so many other countries. We used to do it. We can't do it anymore. We take care of countries all over the world. We pay for their military. We pay for everything they have to pay. And then when you want to cut back a little bit, they get upset that you're not taking care of them any longer. But we have to take care of our people, and we're going to take care of our people first. And I'm sorry to say that. And today we're standing up for the American worker, and we are finally putting America first. In Sleepy Joe Biden's last year in office, the United States hemorrhaged 100,000 manufacturing jobs, and the number was going through the roof at levels never seen before. And our trade deficit reached a record $1.2 trillion, which is unheard of. Since the beginning of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, it was a horror show. I was able to terminate it. They all said you'd never be able to get it out. We had to get approval from Congress to get it terminated. We had to live with that deal. It was the worst trade deal ever made by far. But since the very beginning of NAFTA, our country lost 90,000 factories. Think of what that is, 90,000. Think about putting a map up and putting text on it. You wouldn't have enough room. 90,000. I said, is that possible? We had it checked 4 different times, and it was actually somewhat higher than that. And 5 million manufacturing jobs were lost while racking up trade deficits of $19 trillion. That was the worst trade deal ever made. As a result of these gigantic losses, foreign nations now own $26 trillion more of American assets than the Americans own of their own foreign assets or other foreign assets. The United States can no longer produce enough antibiotics to treat our sick. We have a tremendous problem. We have to go to foreign countries to treat our sick. If anything ever happened from a war standpoint, we wouldn't be able to do it. We import virtually all of our computers, phones, televisions, and electronics. We used to dominate the field, and now we import it all from different countries. A single shipyard in China now produces more ships every year than all of the American shipyards combined. Think of that. And it was a business that we used to dominate. We used to dominate it totally. In short, chronic trade deficits are no longer merely an economic problem. They're a national emergency that threatens our security and our very way of life. It's a very great threat to our country. And for these reasons, starting tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations. It's been a long time since we even thought of that. We used to think about it a lot. We didn't think about it for many decades, and you see what's happened. For nations that treat us badly, we will calculate the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating. And because we are being very kind, we're kind people, very kind. You're not so kind when you got ripped off with your salaries. My auto worker friends and my Teamster friends and all of the unions that typically voted Democrat, they're not voting Democrat anymore because worker, whether union or non-worker, they're for the Republicans now. That's what happened. But we will charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us. So the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that, yes, but it would have been tough for a lot of countries who didn't want to do that. I'd like to see the chart if you have it. Could you bring it up, Howard? This is our great Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thanks, Howard. So if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be because we never charged anybody anything, but now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough. Great people. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk or whichever desk they chose. Japan, 46%. They would charge us 46%, and much higher for certain items like cars, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left, and he's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades, and it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs, and they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand, and the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe, but they all understand. They're ripping us off, and they understood it. Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. He was a fantastic man. He was unfortunately taken from us, assassination. But I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. Trade is not fair. And he said, I know that. And he was a great gentleman. He was a fantastic man, but he understood immediately what I was talking about. I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. He said, I know that. And we worked out a deal, and it would have been a much better deal, but frankly, there were many years left in the deal that was made previous to my getting there, but it was something. If you look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%. Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. Oh, look at Cambodia, 97%.
Okay, he's going over.
We're going to bring it down
part.
to 49. They made a fortune with the United States of America. United Kingdom, 10%, and we'll go 10%. So we'll do the same thing. South Africa, 60%, 30%, and they've got some bad things going on in South Africa. We're paying them billions of dollars, and we cut the funding because a lot of bad things are happening in South Africa. The fake news ought to be looking at it. They don't want to report it. Brazil, 10%, 10%.
A lot of bad things are happening. They don't want to report it.
So you see what's going on. Pakistan, 58%. Sri Lanka, 88%. So what we're doing is we're taking not the full. We could take the full 88%. Thanks a lot. He's doing a very good job. How's he doing? All right? I think you better take it with you. It's not going to last very long. He's going to put it. It's going to follow you down with the wind. I brought a hat just in case it got too windy. But here, would anybody like a hat? I'm not giving it to a cabinet. I'm giving it to the auto workers. Come here. Thank you, fellas. Get it. That's it. That's it. They deserve it more than our cabinet. Our cabinet has plenty of hats. But you see the numbers. The numbers are so disproportionate. They're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart. And that'll be on other countries to help rebuild our economy and to prevent cheating. So we're going to have a minimum of cheating, and we're going to be very severe on the people that at the gate that watch the tariffs and watch the product coming in, because there's been a lot of bad things happening at the gate because the money is so enormous that you're talking about. There's never been probably anything like it in terms of the enormity, and there are a lot of bad things happen at the people that do the check-in, and they're looking at 10-year jail sentences if they do play. We're going to treat them so good, but if they cheat, the repercussions are going to be extremely strong. Foreign nations will finally be asked to pay for the privilege of access to our market, the biggest market in the world. We're right now the biggest market in the world. We had a great country 4 years ago in terms of the economics. We were doubling up on China. We were doing so well. Nobody was going to catch us, but so much of it slipped away over the last 4 years under Biden. I campaigned on this policy throughout last year, and today that promise was made, and it was also a promise, as you know, that was kept. Promises made, promises kept. To any company that objects to our common sense reciprocal tariffs, again, reciprocal, back and forth, back and forth. And I call this kind reciprocal. This is not full reciprocal. This is kind reciprocal. But what we do is we cut it in half. We charge them. My answer is very simple. If they complain, if you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America. And we've seen companies coming in like we've never seen before. Likewise to all of the foreign presidents, prime ministers, kings, queens, ambassadors, and everyone else who will soon be calling to ask for exemptions from these tariffs. I say, terminate your own tariffs, drop your barriers, don't manipulate your currencies. They manipulate their currencies like nobody can even believe, which is a bad, bad thing and very devastating to us. And start buying tens of billions of dollars of American goods. Tariffs give our country protection against those that would do us economic harm. And many people were looking to do us economic harm. Maybe not so obviously, but they were doing tremendous economic harm. But even more importantly, they will give us growth. These tariffs are going to give us growth like you haven't seen before. And it'll be something very special to watch. I am so looking forward. And Brian, it's going to happen even faster than you said. You know, you might say, but it's already started. It's already started. Work's already begun on plants all around the country. And you see that as before. These are big, rich companies. We have $61 billion started on a big plant going up. It's going to be announced over the next 2 days, and they already started work. Many of these the biggest companies in the world, they've committed to build. We're going to build, sir. And they came here to see me, and wanted to know if they could have a press conference. I do as many as I can. I'm pretty busy trying to stop Russia and Ukraine and the Middle East. We got to stop that. We got to stop the Houthis, which we're making tremendous. They like shooting ships down and out of the water, sinking ships. They get a kick out of it, but they're not getting such a kick out of it now, are they, Mr. Secretary?
Oops.
They're not
Sorry,
getting such a kick out of that now.
You're dead motherfuckers now.
Here are just a short list of some of the companies that have already announced and committed to investment. And this is a company that built its factories and its plants in China.
Sucks to be a fucking garbage human
Apple
being, eh?
is going to spend $500 billion. They never spent money like that here. They're going to build their plants here. SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle, great companies, are investing $500 billion almost immediately. NVIDIA, a hot company, is investing hundreds of billions of dollars. They just announced. TSMC, the biggest, most important company in the world of chips from Taiwan, with no investment from us, is investing $200 billion. And they said the reason was, number one, the election of November 5th, and number two, the tariffs. They don't want to pay the tariffs, and the way they're not paying it is to build their plant here. So we're going to go from almost no percentage. We used to have 100% of the chip market. Now it's all in Taiwan. Almost all of it's in Taiwan, a couple of other countries, but mostly in Taiwan. And think of it. We had 100%. We lost it because of people in that office that didn't do their job. They allowed it to be stolen from us. Johnson &
It's
Johnson,
always
a great
those
company,
people. Those
$55 billion.
idiots.
Eli Lilly, $27 billion. Meta is investing $500 billion. Wow. The Mac is investing $20 billion. CMA, CGM, $20 billion. And then you have Merck and Clarios, Stellantis, General Motors, GE Aerospace, Honda, Nissan, Hyundai are all putting in billions and billions of dollars, and they're committed 100%.
Hyundai.
And we've never had, and this is after 2.5 months. This is after just a short, this all took place as soon as we came out with what everybody wanted to do. You know, I watched a gentleman today on television. He used to work with Lee Iacocca, a very respected automobile person, and he said, you know, because they're asking people, they try and get as many negative people as they can, but they can't find them too much. It's pretty hard to find in terms of what we're doing, especially when they see all this investment. They said, so tell me, what do you think of what Trump is doing from the automobile standpoint? He said, I can't believe it. Somebody is finally, he's an older guy, real pro, really top guy, with Lee Iacocca. He said, I never thought I'd see the day when this would happen. where somebody had the courage to go and do what has to be done. This is transforming our nation. Our entire nation is going to be transformed, not only with the cars, but on every single other item that's built. We're going to become an industrial powerhouse. And he said that so beautifully today. In fact, I'm going to find out, I'm going to get a tape. And Bruce, I'm going to get that tape and I'm going to send it to you out in Long Island, and you're going to play it for the people and all your union workers and your non-union workers out there. You got a pretty even split. But we have, so far, it looks like we're going to have about $6 trillion of investments, and you wouldn't do that in years in this country over the last number of years. $6 trillion, and that's going to be much higher by the end of the year. And think of what $6 trillion is. You wouldn't have even a small percentage of that under this other system. We're going to be an entirely different country, and it's going to be fantastic for the workers. It's going to be fantastic for everyone. There will never have been a transformation of a country like the transformation that's already happening in the United States of America. It's an incredible thing to watch, and it's incredible to meet with the top people, people that you read about, very wealthy people, or people that are great managers and executives and presidents of big public companies, and to watch the enthusiasm they have now that they didn't have. They gave up on our country. They went to foreign countries and they built. Companies are pouring into our country at levels never seen before, with jobs and money to follow, and it's really beautiful. In the coming days, there will be complaints from the globalists and the outsourcers and special interests and the fake news. Always, the fake news will always complain. But never forget, every prediction our opponents made about trade for the last 30 years has been proven totally wrong. They were wrong about NAFTA. They were wrong about China. They were wrong about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have been a disaster if I didn't terminate it. If I didn't terminate that, United Auto Workers, you would have had no jobs in this country. You would have had no jobs. It was all going to other countries. In my first term, they said tariffs would crash the economy. Instead, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. And again, I have great respect for President Xi of China, great respect for China, but they were taking tremendous advantage of us, and I commend them for that. I say, hey, if you can get away with it, that's okay. But, they understand exactly what's happening, and they probably, most of them are saying it's about time they did something, but and they're going to fight, and they're going to fight fair. Everyone's going to fight. It's like, I say to the leaders, look, you got to take care of your country, but we have to start taking care of our country now. We can't do what we've been doing for the last 50 years. From the day of my election, the stock market went up in my first term 88%, with NASDAQ going up 155%, more than any president has ever had in any term in office, by far. And I think we're going to blow that away. And maybe the numbers won't show, but I think they're going to show much better than even those numbers. But what you're going to see is you're going to see activity, that empty, dead sites, factories that are falling down. Those factories will be knocked down, and they're going to have brand new factories built in their place. They're not only talking about renovating, they're talking about brand new, the best anywhere in the world, the biggest anywhere in the world. I have a friend who builds car plants, and I said, I want to see the biggest and the best. He said, well, we have to go to Mexico. I said, no, I want to see it in the United States. He said, we're not building them in there. This is a year and a half ago during the campaign. He said, we're not building it. You'd have to go to Mexico. When I was starting to decide to run, and I went to number one in the polls very rapidly, let's say in the first hour. And then shortly thereafter, it looked like I was going to win, and the fake news was saying, oh, no, don't do this. What they don't know is if I didn't win, they would have really been in trouble, because nobody wants to read them anyway. But I tell you what, when it looked like I was going to win, I announced that I was going to be doing exactly what we're talking about today. Great consistency, actually, because I've been talking about it for 40 years. But because I saw what was happening 40 years ago. If you look at my old speeches when I was young, very handsome, my old speeches, and that people would say, I'd be on a television show, I'd be talking about how we were being ripped off by these countries. I mean, nothing changes very much. The only thing that changed were the countries, but nothing really changes. But it's why it's such an honor. It's such an honor to be finally able to do this. If you look at China, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in my term, hundreds of billions. They never paid 10 cents to any other president, and yet they paid hundreds of billions, so much so that Biden couldn't do anything. They wanted to try and terminate it because he had a very special relationship with China. You know what the relationship was? He had a special relationship. But the numbers were so big, that they couldn't do it. So they did ease it up. They did things that they shouldn't have done. They made it a lot more comfortable for them, but they couldn't do it because the numbers were hundreds of billions of dollars, and I did that. And we were on our way to doing something like incredible. And then we had a very bad election happen, A lot of bad things happened. So when I said we got to do it again, I said we have to make it too big to rig, and we made it too big to rig, and we won in records, and it was a monumental win. And it was such an honor to see so many of you, like Brian and your friends, here with us to celebrate and to, more importantly, celebrate what we're doing, because that wouldn't be a full celebration if we didn't do this, because this will be an entirely different country in a short period of time. It'll be something the whole world will be talking about it. The critics made the very tired predictions earlier this year, but in February, core inflation dropped to the lowest rate in 4 years. And the price of eggs, as you know, just in a month and a half, we were there for 4 weeks. And the first week, I got blamed for eggs. I said, I just got here. They said eggs have gone up at like 250%, and you can't get eggs. And they were going crazy. And I said, I just got here. And then we got to work on eggs, and we got to work on everything. And our great Secretary of Agriculture, you did a fantastic job. Brooke Rollins, she did a fantastic job. And as I said before, the price of eggs dropped now 59%, and they're going down more, and the availability is fantastic. They were saying that for Easter, please don't use eggs. Could you use plastic eggs? I said, we don't want to do that. We want to, and you really came through. It's an amazing job. Thank you very much, Brooke. You did great. But likewise, an old-fashioned term that we use, groceries. I used it in the campaign. It's such an old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term, groceries. It sort of says a bag with different things in it. Groceries went through the roof, and I campaigned on that. I talked about the word groceries for a lot, and energy costs now are down. Groceries are down. Gasoline is way under $3, and people are beginning to be able to buy things and live again. We brought prices way down. We created 10,000 already in a few weeks, new manufacturing jobs. And it was that took place in 1 month, numbers that they haven't seen in a long time. We had virtually no inflation under my term. We had virtually no inflation for 4 years, but after transitioning over to Sleepy Joe, it went from almost non-existent to the highest in the history of our country. They had the highest inflation in the history of our country, brought up by energy and bad spending and bad policy, and a lot of bad things happened. How about allowing millions and millions and millions of people to pour into our country with open borders, where it's so sad to see even now. And I see our great secretary you have done. Stand up, please, Christy. Stand up. Kristi Noem and Tom Homan. These people are doing a great job, but gotten them out in records. We have problems with judges that don't want them to go out. They want Tren de Aragua, and they want MS-13, the most vicious gangs ever. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Absolute killer gangs. They kill people. They don't even think about it. And we put them out, and we have judges now, radical left judges that want to. They don't want them to go out. They want them to even be brought back. Let's bring them back. You've done a fantastic job, and please thank everybody. Homeland Security, thank everybody. Appreciate it. And we now have a border that's the best border that we've ever had, even better than it was my first term. My first term we did good, but this one we really specialized in. We've done really well. And we had records then. We had the best, safest border 4 years ago. We had the best border there ever was. And now we have, you've actually matched it and done even better. And we're going to get it down the right way. And we want people, by the way, to come into our country, but we want the to come in through a legal process. We want them to come in legally. We need more people. We need people to run these plants and to help the auto workers and the Teamsters and the non-union people and everybody else. But we need people and the farmers. And we're going to let people come in, but they want to come in. We want them to come in legally. They have to have the capability of loving our country, not people that hate our country. We don't want them in our country. And now we're going to pass the largest tax cuts in American history, and that's where we're relying on Mike and John Thune. And we will not cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid benefits, and the Democrats will, because if they got in, the entire economy would collapse. This country was heading for a collapse under the people that you saw. They were horrible. I think one of the reasons people like the job, I have my highest approval ratings because I think they're comparing me to the worst administration in the history of our country, so I appreciate that at least. But Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader, appreciate it, Mike. John Thune have been fantastic, by the way. But they've been working tirelessly on taking the next step to pass the plan for our One Big Beautiful Bill. I'd like to name it that if you can. One Big Beautiful. I made that statement about 6 months ago, and everybody calls it One Big Beautiful Bill. And it will be that. It'll have everything, the big tax cuts and every incentive there is. And it'll be fantastic. And by the way, for the cars, we're asking for an interest deduction on a loan. So if you build the car, only in America we do it, Brian. If the car's not built in America, you don't get the interest rate deduction. But if you build the car in America, if you buy a car, if it's built in America, then you get an interest rate deduction, tax deduction, and that's a big thing. It's going to be a big thing. I think that's going to pay for itself very quickly, that deduction. Never happened. We've never had anything like that before. Somebody said, where did you get the idea? Because it's so basic. You would think that would have happened a long time ago. It never did, and I'm very happy it didn't because now I can say that was my idea. But we're going to get us closer to the debt extension. We have to get the debt extension passed, and I know you're going to be able to do that, Mike, and it's very important that you do that. And all of the other things that the Senate budget plan gives us, along with working, because I know they're working together, John and Mike, and the two bills are going very well together. We need to get our shared priorities done, including certain permanent tax cuts. We want the tax cuts to be permanent, spending cuts, energy and historic investments in defense, border, and so much more. We're covering everything. These will be phenomenal. There'll be no bill like this going to straighten. One bill is going to straighten out our country for many, many years to come. And we said, let's just do it and let's get it done. And some guys will love it and some guys will like it a little bit less because they're not getting what they were exactly looking for, but they're getting a lot. They'll never, if we get this done, it'll be the most incredible bill ever passed in the history of our Congress and Senate and congressmen, the senators and the congressmen, many of whom are here today, will be very proud of themselves. I really believe that it's going to set us on a whole new prosperous path. We're going to cut spending and right-size the budget back to where it should be. We're going to do that very strongly. Thank you, Rick. Thank you. John, thank you. Oh, look at all of our senators over there. Oh, boy, that's a nice group of people. But I won't like them so much if they don't get this bill done. That's a great group, and Congressman, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tremendous people. The Senate plan has my complete and total support, and the House plan likewise is very similar. They're moving along pretty much at the same clip, and as soon as you're ready, you'll show it to me, and I'm sure it'll have my support, Mike. Every Republican congressman and senator must unify. We have to unify. We can't be separated. We have to get it done. We have to get absolutely everything we can, and we have to take care of the American people. That's the only thing that matters. We have to take care of the American people first. We need to pass this bill immediately, get it done, including debt extension. From this day on, we're not going to let anyone tell us that American workers and families cannot have the future that they deserve. We're going to produce the cars and ships, chips, airplanes, minerals, and medicines that we need right here in America. The pharmaceutical companies are going to become roaring back. They're coming roaring back. They're all coming back to our country because if they don't, they got a big tax to pay. And if they do, I'll be very happy and you're going to be very happy and you're going to be very safe. We're going to build our future with American hands, with American heart, American steel, and we're going to build it with American pride like we used to. We're approaching our 100th day as president and have been given credit by a lot of people, actually, even some of the fake news. Can you believe it? Which in this case hopefully isn't fake, for having done more in that time than any other administration in the history of our country in the first 100 days. I think we've had an amazing in terms of what we've done, what we've gotten accomplished. I'd like to see if we can get that war ended and another war from not starting in the Middle East. We have to get Russia. They're losing 2,000 on average, 2,500 people today, young people, soldiers, Russian. Think of that, 2,500 through some days, but on average, probably over about a 1 week period, it's 2,712, they say. They're losing those soldiers. They're dying. They're being decimated. And they're not from our country, but they're from other countries.
He just
but
basically talks a
human
lot
beings.
about
They're from
the
Russia.
tariffs.
They're from Ukraine in this period,
The,
most of them. And we're going to get it stopped.
companies
It's a
that are
senseless war
moving
that would have
in,
never happened if I was president.
starting
It should
production
be
facilities.
allowed to go on.
He's got the. He's talking about the.
And I think we're being given good
conflicts that are going
cooperation
on
by
now.
Russia and by Ukraine,
Russia,
but we have to get it
Ukraine,
stopped. It's
Israel.
humanity. It's humanity. It's a terrible thing. This will be a very big moment. I think you're going to remember today. It's going to be a free nation that we're dealing with. We're going to have a very free and beautiful nation. It's going to be Liberation Day in America, and it's going to be a day that hopefully you're going to look back in years to come and you're going to say, you know, he was right. This has turned out to be one of the most important days in the history of our country. God bless you and God bless America. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
There you have it. Rest in peace, made in China tags. Americans are liberated to pay more on their groceries and liberated to lose jobs. Because the overall economy will be shrinking. Trump from Canada. Was what was CA? Oh, Canada, we blame you for everything. Blame Canada. Newfoundland and Millick Park. Is this part of Canada too? Looks like it. It's hard to say. I see the borderline here. Keeps going. I don't see any other borderline here, so I'm like, what? Oh, okay. It was just the abbreviation. life is going to make Americans poor. Finally, I will be able to purchase a baseball glove made in the USA. Yeah, we will see. See what we got.
26 attorneys general. Yes, 26 states are taking on 26 attorneys general. Yes, 26 states are taking on Washington D.C.'s gun ban. Well, they're signing on to
two-way and gun and mag
a
ban
lawsuit,
case.
and they're asking the Supreme Court to finally get off their asses and act. The Second Amendment has been under assault in the nation's capital. We all know that. And now these 26 attorneys general are demanding that the Supreme Court do something about it. This case could take down gun bans in Washington, D.C., California, Illinois, New York, and more. And the clock is ticking. Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, the channel that brings you the truth about your gun rights without the spin. I'm Jared, and if you care about the Constitution, the Second Amendment, and the future of gun ownership in America, this is the place to be. Hit that subscribe button, click the bell, and don't miss a single update. YouTube doesn't always show these stories, but I do, loud and clear. Before I tell you the 26 states that are standing up for the Second Amendment, GunCon tickets are now on sale. This year it's in Cleveland, Ohio on June 28th at the Twist Drill building, and we're going to have an awesome time. It's going to be wicked cool. And they have a ton of great panelists as well, like they always do. I'll be there, as will several of our friends. All the brands and creators that are going are excited to meet you guys, and tickets this year are the same price as last year. Just $50, and that includes lunch and a limited edition GunCon t-shirt. There'll be giveaways, new product releases, and overall, it's some of the most fun you can have at any gun event. It's going to be fantastic to get to see all of you guys there, maybe some new faces as well, since it's in Ohio this year. Oh, I should also mention that tickets for the past 3 years have sold out, so go get your tickets right now over at guncon.net. I'll see y'all in June. Now everybody's saying, all right, Jared, what are the states? Well, here they are. In addition to West Virginia, Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming. Now, these states it's an amicus brief, and they're jumping on in support of the original case itself. All right, right now, the Supreme Court is sitting on multiple cases involving bans on so-called assault weapons and large capacity magazines. That's the Snope case for the assault weapons and magazines, as well as the Rhode Island case, Ocean State Tactical versus Rhode Island for magazines as well. But another major challenge is knocking on their door, and it might just blow the whole thing wide open. This case is called Hansen v. DC, and at the heart of it, a total ban on commonly owned semi-automatic rifles and magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. The DC Circuit Court of Appeals actually admitted that these magazines are in common use for self-defense today. That is a direct quote from the Circuit Court. But somehow they still upheld the ban. How? By pulling out a 19th century law banning Bowie knives. Yeah, you heard that right. Bowie knives. And that kind of logic is what 26 Republican attorneys general, led by West Virginia's J.B. McCuskey, are now calling out in front of the highest court in the land. In their amicus brief, they argue that the common use test established in Heller should be enough. If millions of Americans lawfully own these items, then banning them violates the Second Amendment, period, point blank. But here's where things get really twisted. The lower courts are ignoring the Supreme Court's decisions. Instead of sticking to the text, history, and tradition framework from the Bruen decision, they're doing something else. They're reviving the interest balancing through the back door. Now, they claim that this so-called unprecedented societal concerns like mass shootings, combined with technological changes in firearms, justify these bans. But Bruen and Heller both made one thing clear. If a firearm or magazine is in common use, it is protected, period. The DC Circuit admitted there's no real historical precedent for banning these magazines, but they still tried to find some analogies. That's backwards, guys. In Bruin, the analogical reasoning is just a tool, not the end goal. You don't get to say, yeah, these magazines are in common use and then ban them anyway. That's not how the Second Amendment works. If SCOTUS takes this case and follows its own precedent from Heller, Caetano, McDonald, and Bruin, then DC's ban is going to fail big. And when that happens, the bans in California, New York, Illinois, Maryland, they're all next. As of 2025, the following states have restrictions on firearm magazine capacity. Typically, they limit them to 10 or 15, but this is what I either remember or was able to dig up real quick. California has a 10-round limit. Colorado, a 15-round limit. Connecticut, 10 rounds. Delaware, 17-round limit with some exceptions. Hawaii is 10-round limit for handguns only. Illinois, it varies by local.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but having 10 rounds for handgun isn't enough. People who are not trained with a firearm tend to miss a lot. Let's just say. Yeah, 10 rounds is not enough.
Jurisdiction, like Cook County and Highland Park, they're both different. Maryland is a 10-round limit. Massachusetts is 10. New Jersey is 10. New York is 10. Rhode Island
Especially
is 10.
when you're
Vermont
in the
is
heat
10
of the moment
on
and
handguns
you're
and
trying to,
15
like,
for rifles.
running and
Washington
gunning,
is
yeah.
10. Oregon is 10 as well. And many
Your
of these
accuracy
laws
tends to go
have
downward.
exceptions for law enforcement, military, or pre-existing
under
magazines. And some
under
states like
stress,
Massachusetts are
right?
trying to ban those
People
pre-existing magazines.
don't know how to
Now, some states also have grandfather clauses,
properly
while others
focus
do
and
not. Court challenges are
make
ongoing
accurate
in
shots
several
under stress
states, so
versus,
restrictions
right,
may
a trained
change.
person.
And always check your local
And
and
even
state laws if
trained
you're
people still
living there or
kind of
driving
fuck up
through there.
sometimes.
But here's the catch:
But
SCOTUS
they
is
fuck up
already
less.
holding cases out of Maryland and Rhode Island, like I told you earlier. They've been sitting on them for freaking months with no explanation. They're relisted again for conference this Friday, which is the 9th or the 10th time that they've relisted them. I'm starting to lose count. But as they keep kicking them down the line, you have issues like California's case just came up where the Ninth Circuit upheld the ban. So is that what the Supreme Court is waiting for? They see these cases are about to pop up and reach, their final judgment. So are they going to take them and lump them all together and then really destroy gun control? I hope that's what's going to happen, but you never really know unless you're in that chamber with those judges. And anybody else who says they know what's going on is blowing smoke up your, what. Now, these 26 attorneys general, in this case, aren't asking for anything new. They're not asking for a radical shift. They're just saying, follow the law, follow the Constitution, follow the court's decisions. So here's the big question. Will the Supreme Court finally step in, or will they just keep letting the lower courts play constitutional games? I'm tracking every...
I mean, given what the Supreme Court has done over the years with gun control and stuff, yeah, I don't think they're gonna. I mean, they obviously know what the rule is, right? It says it in the fucking Constitution, and then it has the second statement saying, "Hey, shall not be infringed." So the fact that the Supreme Court is saying, "Hey, can you please fix this? We told you under this under this opinion, it shouldn't be like this, but you should fix it." And then it's been always being kicked back and forth between the lower courts and the circuits for a while now. And the Supreme Court will never fucking take it on for some reason.
Single update, so make sure you're
I
subscribed.
mean, I think it's because they know the Supreme... I would assume the Supreme Court justices know, hey, you fucking idiots, stop fucking doing this. Just rule correctly. But yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. There's too many fucking, there's too many people in the lower courts who are fucking assholes.
Hit the bell so you don't miss anything new that comes out. And
too
share
many
this
people
video
in the
to
lower
help spread the
courts are
word.
like
The fight
stroking
for
their
our gun
own
rights
dick.
is not slowing
and other
down, and
people's
neither
dick.
are we. God bless America. Take care, y'all.
I love eating shit. Honestly, SCOTUS should just fucking go in and be like, "Hey, stop doing this." All they have to do is say, literally all SCOTUS has to do is fucking say something and make a ruling on it. That's all they have to do. But no, they just keep kicking it down to the fucking lower court and the circuits. It makes no fucking sense. It's just it will be forever in that fucking cycle because the politicians are just using it as a fucking political game. Oh shit, I gotta find it again. Apparently Destiny was freaking out on Asmongold. I kinda wanna see what he said. I mean, he probably has nothing nice to say, to be honest. Fucking Hassan and Destiny never have anything nice to say. They're all fucking bittered faggots.
Super liberal leftist people that think that Trump is actually going to get rid of democracy, and he's like actually a fascist. Like, you've totally bought into everything. Can you imagine how bad their day is?
Like, the problem is that people like Asmongold will never admit it, but Asmongold has already said things that I think would entitle him to a full-on fucking ass whipping if certain people saw him in public. Like, if I had family members that were being deported and this guy's out here saying like, "Oh, I think they should want to be fucking epic," or
Oh, I mean, look, most of my family immigrated, so I mean, I make jokes a lot. So what? I mean, there's a lot of these people who should be fucking shit canned because they fucking broke the laws. I don't see anything wrong with that. You break the laws, you get fucking shit canned. That's it.
family members that worked for USAID or any of these government institutions.
Oh, gross. He's talking about USAID.
And Asmongold is sitting here like laughing with his teeth falling out, making, you know, $1 million a month about how epic it is that they're all getting fired and shit.
Bro, you do the same thing. Look at the firearms you have behind you, dude. Like, what?
Like, he's already so
oh, man.
So far beyond the pale in terms of the things that he's like supporting. It's just absolutely.
But it's all gotta like love echo chambers, hilarious and
Can you imagine?
This dude has a full-on arsenal. Look how rich he is. Like, this gun is probably like what? Over probably $1,000. I don't know what this is. This another shotgun? That might be $500. I don't know what. I can't tell what these are technically. And these look pretty fucking beefy though. And then he has some pistols in the back. And then he has like some ammo canisters. It's like, dude, that whole arsenal probably over like $2,000 in just firearms alone.
Imagine, like, if
says the guy who hates America a lot and wants people dead a lot. I can never take Destiny or fucking Hassan seriously because they all do the same shit. Haku celebrated innocent people being killed for attending a political rally. Yeah, he did do that. Now wants to incite the same violent rhetoric towards Asmongold, correct? I think even Destiny tried to put hits out on people. I think look, let's be real. He's on the same playing field, or same plane as Hassan and all those fucking idiots like Denims and, Mike from PA or whatever. Oh yeah, Vosh too. They're all fucking retards. And then Destiny is even worse off because he has those fucking allegations levied against him. Prisoner crowd cheering for supporting a traitor to this country. I wonder if they're gonna bring that up during the court trial. I mean, it has nothing to do with the case, but if you fucking hey Destiny, why did you say this on this day? So you are a known person who hates America, and you take pictures of people without their consent. Oh, he's fucked, dude. Well, we'll see. Allegations are allegations until, right, the court of law. Hard to believe YouTube is now allowing open calls to violence. But it seems to be a trend. YouTube? I'm pretty sure YouTube has always allowed that. Like, what? YouTube allows war movies. YouTube allows a lot of opinions to go through it. Anyways, there it was. People getting mad at Asmongold because of the whole deportation thing. I have the same stance on fucking deportation too. Hey, you break the laws, you get fucking sent back. Easy as that. Why would you waste time and money on these people who have no right to be here legally? Right? Why do we have to capitulate to these people that they don't deserve the Constitution? They're not even American. They broke the rules. If they wanted to fucking actually comply with American standards, they would fucking follow the rules, but they didn't. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, it would be the same with any country. You fucking break their rules, you're fucking getting you're shit canned. You're out. Just look at Johnny Fuckboy Somali. That boy's getting fucked. Hope he gets fucked. Dude should get the fucking black rod all the way through. Same with Ice Poseidon. Motherfuckers should get the black rod too. All these motherfuckers should.
Dan, I am massively famous.
Even Destiny. Even though they're just allegations, he should get the fucking black rod shoved right up his thigh hole.
Messages all day.
He's a fuckboy.
They only get attention from their buddies who are on the computer all day, and they're like, "Hey, Josh, how was?"
And he likes it too. That's the other thing. Destiny enjoys that shit.
I really deduce him. Like they're just the lamest people on earth. But
and then this goes on to Wes Watson. Another fuckboy like Destiny.
The downward spiral of Wes Watson continues. This guy hits a new low every day.
Another
It's
beta male
fascinating to
who
watch.
acts like he's.
I mean, I've never seen someone
who's
explode
got
like
alpha
this. Like he's been
testosterone.
crashing out for almost a year now, and still every day he finds a new way to make a fool out of himself. I mean, he's still coping over people figuring out his real height. You know, he always claimed to be 6 feet, but then the police report from his arrest said he's 5'8". And this was exposed like almost 2 months ago, and he still hasn't gotten over it.
He says he's 6 feet, but he's only 5'8". I guess women don't like you very much now. You're not 6 feet.
So this got to him so badly. Like every other day on Instagram, he's yelling about how he's actually 6 feet.
When I was booked, I was 6 foot 252, and I said, "Why the f does my paperwork say 5'8", 230?" That's the eyeball of the arresting officer. He doesn't even look at your ID and write it down. He eyeballed that, put it on the paperwork. That was the only paperwork that flew. When we got to medical, 6 foot.
And he got so desperate, he told his fans to go around and respond to the haters and tell them that he's actually 6 feet. And he even told his fans that are 6 feet and have taken pictures with him to post the pictures to prove that he's that tall. And some people actually did it, which is the most pathetic thing ever. I mean, this is just getting sad. You know, Wes even has to wear lifts in his flip-flops. So he'll never accept that he's actually 5'8", which is funny because he's just drawing more attention to it. And I'm sure most people wouldn't care if he wasn't lying about it and if he wasn't now having a meltdown over it, which
I mean, I
just
get it
proves
if
he's
your
lying about it.
feet
You know,
are
because if you're
cold, but
actually
what?
6 feet, he'd be like, whatever, or he'd just measure himself or something. I mean, it's not that hard to prove your height, but recently he actually did tell people to come down to the gym and stand next to him to prove how tall he is.
Everybody's so fixated on this. Get
They
the
prove to
biggest
you, I will
fairy
go
that you
to the
know
gym
that
right
swears
now.
I'm not 6 foot. He's
And
probably
line
not even
people
6
up.
foot. Have him come to where I go to the gym, and we'll just do a friendly stand by each other and take a picture.
A friendly
Get as many
stand
people
by
as
each
you
other.
can
You're not
that
gonna
are
rage out
5'8".
like you did
Have
last
them
time,
come
where
stand
you
next to
fucking
me,
beat up that
take
one
a
dude for some
picture,
reason.
and just document it. I'm 6 foot.
The dude
but I'm just gonna
assaulted
play
someone
into your
for some
guys'
reason.
game
Yeah, so this guy would never
literally had a
learn. I don't know why
dumbbell
he's
in his
inviting
hand.
people to
It
meet him
looked
at the
like he
gym
was gonna
again.
use the
I mean, we all
dumbbell
know what
too. I
happened
was like,
last
Jesus
time he
fuck,
made
man,
this
this dude
offer
just-
and somebody took
he
him
was
up
going
on
to
it.
slam
He
him.
beat the shit out of the guy, and then he
Guy might
complained
get
about
charged
how
for
he's sick
murder.
of people messing with him. So he's an idiot, and he's completely delusional for thinking this was a good idea. I mean, of course, this was going to lead to him just embarrassing himself even more. So this big YouTuber, Eric Konevsky, decided to go help Wes, prove all the haters wrong once and for all. You know, this was Wes's big opportunity here. He could finally put the rumors to rest. And this was perfect for Eric to help with because he's known for going around at bodybuilder conventions and getting people's height and weight. And he also happens to do a Wes Watson character for videos,
Oh, really?
which Wes is actually a fan of.
Honestly, I don't really watch spoof videos about me, but that one was funny. If I saw that guy in person, I'd be like, dude, you are classic. Like, I really thought it was going to piss me off, and I liked the guy after seeing that one. I'm just saying, he was hilarious.
Yeah, so Wes said he likes the guy,
Wow.
and he's asking people to
He's-
come to
he's
the gym and
actually
get his
not gonna
height.
rage
So
about it.
Eric
That's
thought
a
it would be
first.
fine to go to the gym and take his height, like Wes was asking. But of course, when he got there, it went about how you'd expect it to go. You know, of course, Wes just freaked out right away, and all his goons had to step in and defend him and try to intimidate people. So again, just like with the guy Wes beat
Yeah,
up,
as
Wes
usual,
tells these
freak the
people
fuck
to
out.
come meet him at the gym, but then he flips out when people actually show up. And he always needs his boys to step in too, which is
wait, the dude who. No way, the dude who was actually playing his actually showed up.
embarrassing. I mean, they must know he's not actually 6 feet and he's just really insecure about it, because this would have been a great opportunity to prove everybody
Yeah,
wrong.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, I don't. I guess I don't understand the insecurity of height. Everyone's look. You're born genetically sometimes with a certain height. Sucks. Gotta live with it. I don't know. And honestly, I don't think even tall people. You don't want to be tall sometimes. Even tall people have issues, right? Because it's a load on their knees. Right? Tall people have issues with their fucking kneecap. Because especially athletes who fucking keep jumping and shit. Right? Just look at fucking Michael Jordan and fucking Shaq. They fucked up their knees sometimes because of how tall they were.
You know, if Wes has nothing to hide, then he could have just let Eric measure him. I mean, I don't
who?
think Eric went there to try to
Oh
piss
yeah, another person, Andre the Giant, a very, very special case for him, where he was in pain because of his height, right? Because of the load of just his body and sheer massive height. It was putting his whole whole body in pain. Right? He was drinking constantly to get rid of the pain.
Wes off or prank him or
Yeah,
anything like that.
You know,
you just
if you watch his, I think his autobiography, or read his autobiography, people talk about it.
just doing Wes a favor. He went
And
there
he
to
was
get
a
his
real
height like he asked
down-to-earth
for,
guy, but
and
in
he
his
wasn't
head,
the Wes
in
Watson
his-
character,
in-
but Wes
in
said
the
it was
background, he was going through some shit.
funny. So he could have just acted cool and gotten his height taken, but instead he flipped out right away.
Look at this stud over here.
Dude, suck my dick for the fuck out of here.
Why?
As you can see, he went 0 to 100 right away. Again, did
Yeah,
I think
this
this could possibly happen?
One
Yes.
who's
Did I think
just,
it actually would? No.
Roided out, basically.
Actually, WW Dago. All the motherfuckers.
I don't know if
Wes
he's
Watson
roided
from
out,
San
but he's
Diego. I can't talk to this straight up
he
stud
gets
over
super
here.
angry real quick.
I made a story
Basically
yesterday.
needs anger management.
You trying to fucking live off my name.
He needs
Am
to
I
fix
5'8"? Am I
his
5'8"?
anger
Well,
problem.
That's what I want to find out.
Get out of here, yo.
I didn't even get the chance to ask Wes anything about his height before all of his buddies started swarming me, but he brought up the 5'8" thing himself. He must have watched a lot of my content because he knew exactly what I was there for. And it's weird that he didn't want to participate if he's so adamant about not being 5'8",
You
because
watched your
whatever he measured
content
at,
a
I
lot.
would have shown on
Oh.
camera. And if he was telling the truth,
You
this
probably
would have
watched
ended it
all the
forever.
ones with
Also, at
him,
this point, the Wes Watson clones just kept multiplying in the background. I saw one of them
played
reach
as
for
Wes
something in his
Watson.
pocket, so I knew at this point it wasn't going to be very friendly after all.
I will murk your bitch ass, yo.
Second time somebody has said
Jesus.
they'll murder me over height and weight.
Yeah, so
angry.
Wes definitely has nothing to hide here. And, you know, he really proved all the haters wrong with this one. He's definitely 6 feet. I mean, this is just unbelievable. You know, it's like he just can't help himself and needs to find a new way to embarrass himself every day. I mean, it's crazy how this shit just constantly
Sounds like
happens to
Destiny
him,
and
the haters
Hassan.
end up being right about everything. Like, I've never seen somebody take so many L's. I mean,
But
Wes
they will
has to be
never
the
pull
most
the
insecure
trigger
person
because they're a
alive,
bunch of
and now his
figs.
girlfriend is helping do damage control. Like, she posted this picture of them together after this and said, "My
They
date,
got too much
6
on their
feet,
career to pull
250
the trigger.
pounds, and big everything." So he had his girlfriend post this to defend him, and she even had to refer to the size of his junk at the end there. I mean, it's just pathetic, but she had to say
Right,
this.
they're willing to talk about the deaths of others and wanting the deaths of people wanting to do it themselves. But then they will never actually pull the trigger when confronted in reality.
Because things got even worse for him after that whole confrontation. Because right after
'Cause
that,
they know it's
after he got
against the
exposed for
law
lying
to
about his
do
height,
that shit.
then he literally exposed himself, and it turns out his
Idiots.
height wasn't the only size he's lying about, which I
Yeah,
wouldn't
all
care
they
about
do-
or
right,
talk about.
a lot of these
if
streamers
Wes
talk a
wasn't
lot of
such a
fucking big
scumbag.
game, but
and
can't
this
fucking back
explains
it
a
up.
lot. You know, this explains all the overcompensating he does. I mean, he's always yelling about how he's 6 feet tall and hung like a horse, but it turns
obviously
out
they don't
he's
wanna
5
back-
foot
they don't wanna
8
fucking
and
lose
hung like
their
a
life.
light switch,
They
which
don't
is
wanna
fine.
go into the
There's
slammer.
nothing you can do about that, and I don't think anybody's
Go
really that
to the fucking
surprised. I mean,
gulags
the
and get
guy's a
their ass
roided up
raped.
meathead who feels the need to always have to flex on people. You know, the guy's the epitome of small dick energy. So
Yep.
I think most people could do the math here.
I mean,
but
look
still,
at
you know
Johnny
Wes is
Somali.
just
That
gonna lose it over
that
this.
brother's getting
like
his ass
watching him
raped.
cope over this will be wild.
Oh.
So he exposed himself in this video. He
I
posted
wonder
to
how
Instagram that he
Korean
deleted
jail
right
is gonna
away,
be
which
for
I'm
him.
sure his girlfriend probably told him to take down because in it she's like clearly
Especially
drunk,
for someone
and
who
she's
doesn't
shaking
know
her
their
bare ass.
language.
And I don't know if she even knows she's being recorded, and it's so creepy.
Oh,
Wes is
man.
always
He's
trying to
gonna
take
be a
videos of
fucking
her
fish
when
out
she's
of water.
naked, and this lady has 2 young kids. And I can't imagine having your 2 kids around Wes Watson. And she's already dated him before, but she left because he kept yelling at the kids and also kept calling them the N-word.
He's mentally
Jesus,
disturbed.
really?
He
Wow.
literally called me and was just saying, "Oh, you can
He was
vent to
unhinged,
me,"
eh?
and "Oh,
Well, he's probably
calling me
roided
a
out, right?
bitch,"
Roid rage.
and my kids are niggers, and then
And then I did address when I was like, you were verbally, emotionally abusive towards Alyssa, and that was because you were angry and you said something towards Alyssa, but we were all in like this crazy
I told her to
state.
shut the f up. She's 13. I told her to shut the fuck up. And I mean, it's, you know, I just shouldn't have said that.
And that's where I was like, I'm
Yeah,
very
probably
protective
not
over my kids, and if
a
somebody
good
goes towards
idea.
them,
I think a
if we're in an
stepdad should
argument,
be able to tell a kid to shut the fuck up, though, at 13. I think they should.
she was.
I'm pretty sure it's the way you said it. It's one thing to say, "Hey, can you please not raise your voice? Not good. Can you lower your voice?" Instead of saying, "Hey, shut the fuck up, kid. I'm a fucking put."
So these 2 parents of the year were partying and walking around the house naked, and for some reason Wes started recording his girlfriend shaking her fake ass
No
because I guess he
way.
thought people would be jealous,
No.
because he's always
Oh
trying
my
to show
God.
off anything he
No
can.
wonder.
And now we
Oh,
know why.
he's a
because
destiny.
At
He's
one point,
basically
there's a
like-
reflection in the glass, and the guy's got a Tic Tac on him, which again, nobody would care if he wasn't a piece of shit,
boy.
and if he wasn't completely delusional and didn't constantly try to brag about the size of his junk.
But I don't just only have money. I'm hung like a motherfucking horse.
And he says this all the time, and he'll continue saying it.
Why do
like
you
he
say
is so insecure, it's incredible. And that was his response to someone saying the only reason
I
girls
mean,
are
look,
with him is
just,
because he's rich.
Asian
so he
people
literally has
just have
to
small
make shit up
penises.
because
That's
he has
just,
nothing else to offer.
that's just the
and
thing.
now I'm pretty sure he's going broke
Unless-
as well.
unless they
So
do the-
I mean, this guy is
the
a
fucking
mess.
weird
And
surgery.
recently he also started to get these head tattoos, and they just keep getting worse and worse. Like the first one he got
The
SD
stereotypes
tattooed
of
on the top of
Asians
his head,
have all small
which I
penises.
guess we now know means small dick. So
Yes.
maybe he's
All the
ready to
small
embrace
pee-pee.
it. You know, I think he'd be less angry. Like maybe he could also now start going by Wes Chodson. No, I think that's too far. But it is funny that this is supposed to be the top alpha male, and he's really the most insecure and desperate person alive. It's pathetic, and I can't wait to hear how his sycophants will cope over this. It's going to be hilarious. But let me know what you guys think. And if you're interested in hearing about one of the cringiest podcasts I've seen in a while, where the hosts have to tell their guests to stop being mean to them because he keeps making fun of their podcast, I talked
So
about that over on
free.
Patreon, and
They're
there's
the
a ton of
ones who
extra
did the
content on there,
fucking
over 120
causes
videos.
themselves.
There's a lot to go through, so if you enjoyed the channel and want more content, make sure you check it out. There'll be a link in the description.
Fucking fresh and fit and all these fucking retards. Yeah, even Andrew Tate is under the fucking crosshairs because of all this shit he's done. Oh boy. Content creators, eh? Influencers. They just love causing problems. Oh, we gotta push the boundaries for content, guys. Oh, it's all for content. Let's fag out for content. I'm so sorry. As you can tell, some people are just. I don't like retarded people.
Thank you for joining me.
What is this? Oh, let's pull this up. 5 years after COVID closed theaters. Movie there is trying to do everything to bring audiences back from pickleball cocktail. Well, I mean, the fact that there's been so many online services, right, that just put out movies now, it's like the point of watching it at theaters now. Also, theaters is it might be cost more money, especially if you're gonna fucking pay for, right, a drink and popcorn right at the concession stand or food stand or whatever. Texting, weed, and sing-alongs. 4 radical ideas for bringing new audiences to movie theaters. But wait, so you want people to get high? Is that it? That's the weed part. Why? What?
Yeah, listen. We f***ed up. Let's all go to the lobby.
Yeah, I guess so. What the fuck? Fucking people, man. Just the protesters can't name a single thing she doesn't like about what Doge has
throwing
done.
a Molotov cocktail
Oh,
at a Tesla, burning the battery hurts the environment?
I don't think that has done that much damage to the environment compared to what the Trump administration is doing to the environment.
So firebombing people at work is okay when lives are at risk. That's climate change, basically. Oh, it's okay. They can die for the environment. It's fine. It means the environment is cleaner, right? Crazy bitch.
That is minuscule.
What a crazy.
What do you think is the
fucking
worst thing
hag.
Elon Musk and his Doge team has done so far?
We don't really know what they've done in there, so I think that that's very dangerous that they're, using their their technological, all the technical stuff that they're doing computerized with computers and
Computerized
with, the agencies.
What? They have no idea what the fuck is. They're there because they're fucking mad about being fucking retarded. Bunch of Karens, man. They're just there to cause shit. They're there to cause shit. Alright, let's take a look at police discover a killer's secret torture forest. Oh, that's great, eh? Yeah. Isn't that dandy, guy? I didn't check the video. Hopefully they don't show.
Oh shit. SO389 dispatch. I've located the body. The scene's about 50 yards on the trail.
This lone cop just discovered a dead body in the middle of the
good
woods.
thing they blocked it out.
What is that? Sounds like it's heading this way. Like he's from the knife. Top of the body. Carving the blood of the place. 10-4, signal 7. Please send another unit to my location.
Like some
What he doesn't
ritualistic
know
shit.
yet is that the lifeless man in front of him has been tortured for hours by the twisted man hiding in this very forest.
Whoever did this fresh. Little eyeball right here.
Yeah, they got
Clean shit right here.
Oh, what? He's been
Yeah.
camping.
Yeah. They're gonna torch him? I'm not sure what it is, but I've got movement east of my location in the woods. There's something moving around back this way.
He carries 3 or 4 knives on him. He thinks he's Rambo.
You're what? I'm just like God.
Wait, did he just try?
It's December 23rd, 2022, and Officer
creeping
Azure has
in
just
the
received a 911 call from a
Was he
distraught
gonna
man
attack the
reporting that he's
cops?
found his best friend's lifeless body in the middle of the Lake Jackson forest. Officer Azure, along with a group of first responders, quickly arrive at the scene.
That's my friend. Okay, y'all stay right there.
Here they encounter Jamie, the 911 caller, and his best friend Robert, both of whom urgently want to show the officer where their dead friend is. Considering the serious circumstances, Officer Azure decides to follow Robert into the forest despite being alone.
389, I'm 1012 with him. Just give me a minute. I'm 1012 with 2. I'm headed down to take a look. 361, if you want to come down in 56 with the EMS in the back, I'm headed down to the scene. We're going to back that way about 50 yards. Okay.
This is dangerous. Don't do this, especially when the
Did you touch the knife?
killer.
Okay.
What? Why did you pick up?
No problem.
Huh?
I walked by the car, and you couldn't see James.
Okay.
And then Alan walked by the car and goes, "What's that?" And he picked the truck up with his stickers on his hand, and James was laying there face down, and I dropped the knife and we left.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to need to get a very detailed statement from you, okay? Just because...
I understand.
Well, the thing is, I'm not accusing you of anything, but you have to be ruled out. You see what I'm saying?
100%.
At this point, the officer can't yet confirm Robert's story, but with a dead body reported, he has no choice but to push deeper into the woods.
this
However,
is so
alone with a
sketch.
suspicious man he's just met and a killer who could be lurking nearby, the
Yeah.
officer knows he must proceed with extreme caution.
You just hang on down right here for me, okay? Let me get up there and take a look.
You better than that.
Which one?
Right here, for you.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And then you please put in that back stand, please.
All right. Where's the knife?
The knife's on the left-hand side of him.
Okay.
Laying on the ground. He's got a white belt.
Okay. Just hang out there for me, okay?
Sorry, my nose.
Jamie was telling the truth. Wrapped inside the tarp is the body of James Leidendecker. He's lying naked in a pool of his own blood, covered in cuts and scrapes. Realizing the severity of the situation, Officer Azure immediately instructs Jamie to head back while he investigates further. That's when Officer Azure begins to hear some unsettling noises.
I would get your gun out and ready.
I'm not sure if it's a person or... I'm not sure what it is, but I've got movement east of my location in the woods. Sounds like it's heading this way. Hey, LT.
Fortunately for Officer Azure, backup arrived just in time, providing some relief from whatever might have been lurking in the forest.
There's nothing for y'all to check. He's cold to the touch. All right, we got knife right here, body here, tents, whole camp spread up back here. We've also got one outstanding. There's 2 people who live in this camp.
And one's not here?
And one's outstanding at the moment.
Did you find the knife?
Yeah.
I got a knife right here.
No blood on it, though.
Well, there's something right there, but hey, did you still got those 2 guys 10-12 up front?
Yeah, they're standing there waiting for us.
Good, because one that led me back touched the knife, so we need to get his prints and a statement off him. The other one touched the tarp. They found out what was going on and they took off. I checked the camp and he's the only one back here.
I got the name of the person that he was arguing with at 5 or 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so, and I've got what looks like maybe his clothes right over there. So he's naked and there's some clothes right there on the fire.
As medical staff arrives and examines the body more closely, they observe a brutal manner of death, blunt force trauma to the head, strangulation, and something even more disturbing, gasoline, found in James's lungs and stomach. Detectives are left with a burning question. Why would a victim have gasoline inside him? However, this would be only one of the many disturbing details officers uncover at the scene.
How the fuck did he make it? Oh,
Sir,
probably
take a look at
just
this one.
forced it down his throat.
What is that? Is that just soot weared off on that, or? I mean, it looks awful shiny.
Where he has been stabbed, just from what I can see. But he is butt naked, face down on the tarp with his upper torso covered, so definitely not. And definitely somebody put him in here. So I don't know what his face looks like. If he was stabbed in the neck or the face, the blood may be hidden by the tarp. I'm not seeing any obvious blood. Apparently the witness picked up the knife, and the knife has like a Russian string around it. There's blood on it. Yeah, the tarp's brown, but there's blood all over the tarp, like blood splatter.
It looks like, I mean, he was moved post-mortem. You can tell by the way he was dragged.
Oh, he's got fucking leaf in his ass.
Yeah. That's hollow down below, you see that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Almost looks like a carving ocean. This in the one eye, you see that?
Fucking nuts.
Like this. Look, yes. So, yes.
I had to cut that with a chainsaw, right? And it looks like. Yeah.
By now, officers were certain they had a murder on their hands. The injuries to the body, the bloody knife, and the presence of gasoline all point to one thing. This wasn't just a killing, but a calculated act where the victim had likely been tortured for hours. With this in mind, officers would return to question Jamie, the man who had originally called 911, and what Jamie reveals would soon lead investigators directly to the killer. But before we continue, it's worth noting that tragedies like these could affect any of us. Take Yvette Torres. She was walking home from work in Philadelphia when a truck struck her without warning. Morgan & Morgan fought for her in court and won her nearly $12 million. If you're seriously hurt, your injury could be worth millions. With over 1,000 attorneys, Morgan & Morgan will fight to give you the best results if you become their client. And unless you win, they do it all for free. In just the past few months, Morgan & Morgan has helped hundreds of people. One car crash victim in Florida won a verdict worth $12 million, and another in Philadelphia, $26 million. That was 40 times more than their insurance offered. So if you ever got seriously injured, your case could be worth millions. And it takes only a few minutes to see if you have a case. You can start your claim with Morgan & Morgan by visiting www.forthepeople.com/insanity found in the description, or by scanning the QR code on the screen from your phone's camera. With that said, let's get back to the investigation. Officers were about to speak again with Jamie, one of the eyewitnesses, and he would provide them with their biggest lead yet.
So I heard arguing and stuff, so I go through the woods, go to this camp.
So you
I
left.
go back to the camp, because you know,
Right.
all these people argue all the time about dumb shit. It's been a while now, and I haven't heard anything from James or anybody over there. So I go over there to me and my friend that's with Officer now, go over there, right? So when I get to a certain point, I see a tarp laying there beside this tree, which is never there. I
And
flip over,
inside
the
is-
tarp is, I don't even know if it's James or...
All right, well, we're gonna get it figured out, okay? Do you know James' last name?
Do.
Do you know James' last name?
No, ma'am.
No.
I'm talking about the person who did this, because I know who it is. Dusty McDonald. They live right up. He just got the complaint this morning. Man come down there with a hatchet, threatening to chop shit up. Called it in, sheriff's department. They come over, they talked to him, they told him that they're gonna go over and talk to him and just stay away.
And James is the one who called.
No, ma'am.
Who called this morning? Rick. Okay. Do you know
Rick
Rick's
is
last
the one
name?
who stays there.
Okay.
No, ma'am, but Rick is the one who stays there. James is a friend of everybody's, but
So
he
I
was
should
staying
be
up
able
there
to
with
find them by
Dusty.
his name.
According to Jamie, a man named Dusty McDonald had attacked another man, Rick, with a hatchet earlier that day. Police were called
Hatchet
but were unable
man.
to locate or confront Dusty at the time. While this incident was concerning, it wasn't enough on its own to establish Dusty as a primary suspect. Until nearly every witness interviewed pointed to him as well. Eventually, officers had gathered enough statements to justify bringing Dusty in for questioning. All they needed now was to find him. As police began searching for Dusty, other officers on scene would sit down with the two 911 callers to piece together a timeline. According to them, the day had started with unsettling signs that something was off.
We both went down. We live right here. We want to go check out our family. He's wrapped up in a tarp.
Okay. Sir,
We came back
I
and
heard
talked.
arguing earlier, right?
We know who was down there, Casey.
Arguing. Okay. So I walked down through the woods. I seen Dusty have James on the ground. He was saying, you shouldn't talk shit about this, and you know what I'm saying? I heard, like, oh, they just getting shit up, you know what I mean? But I never hear nothing from over there no more. I'm like,
You know Dusty's real name or?
Dusty McDonald.
Did you say that James called them today and said, hey,
Nope, Rick.
oh, Rick called.
Rick. James was there.
Oh, Dusty went over there and cut his tent with
Cut
a
him up,
machete?
threatened with a machete,
Yep.
cut his tent up,
Yep.
all kind of shit.
They called the police. Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
All kind of shit.
Report, and the
I
police
mean, you know
just
these
said,
guys are
stay away from
fucking
him. There's a
Southern-
tarp laying beside a tree.
Southern
It's never
Americans.
there because I live here. And I took this stick and when I flipped it up, I seen legs.
Based on these witness accounts, officers now have a fairly detailed picture of what likely unfolded just hours earlier. They also have a lead suspect, Dusty McDonald, a name one of the officers happened to be familiar with.
I think they already brought up his name, that Dustin McCormick.
Yeah, Dusty?
Dusty,
Yeah, so
supposedly general in some militia, come down there this morning with a machete and started hacking up some of the tents because so he wanted to clear the area. Said he's Sigma 20 and off his meds.
They said Dusty. They said Dusty's the one that was outstanding. Yeah, they said this guy Dusty left from over here by later in the evening.
By now, it was clear Dusty had likely been involved in the murder, and with Jamie and Robert's statements in hand, police began piecing together the sequence of events leading up to the brutal killing. Earlier that day, Rick, another man who lived at the camps, had called 911 claiming a Dusty McDonald had slashed his tent with a machete while searching for a man named James, even threatening him in the process. Later that afternoon, Dusty managed to find James, and witnesses reported hearing arguing from the camp. When they checked to see what was going on, they saw Dusty on top of James, wrestling and yelling. It didn't appear to be anything more than a heated argument, so they returned to their camp. However, hours would pass, and nobody had heard from James. Robert and Jamie began to worry and decided to go looking for him, and that's when they found a blue tarp covering James's lifeless body. Nearly all witness accounts lined up perfectly with this timeline of events, making the next step for officers clear.
Yeah,
Arrest
just to
Dusty
check,
and bring him in for
yeah.
interrogation.
Fortunately,
Fortunately, since officers had begun the work of locating him earlier that day, they already had Dusty's address. Soon after, they surrounded the house, ready to move in.
Sheriff Office, put a knife down, man. Come on out. Come on out. Come on out.
I'm not have anything in my
Okay,
hands.
come on.
Please, I don't
Come on.
have anything in my hands.
Come on out.
I'm right here, sir.
Come on out.
Dude, I'm right here. Dusty, and light me on fire.
Dusty's behavior would be bizarre from the start, immediately insisting that James tried to set him on fire and that the officers, quote, already know what happened down there. Whether he's trying to claim self-defense or is just completely unhinged
Yeah,
is
it's like,
anyone's
what?
guess.
Yeah, but sir, you know what happened down there. That's what we're trying to figure out. Dude, man tried to light me on fire as I tried. Okay, listen. Okay, we've got one side. Okay. That's why you need to come with us. Okay? I know you are.
With the supposed killer in custody, officers concluded the disturbing on-scene investigation and began preparing for interrogation. If Dusty was their killer, given what had been done to the victim's body, it pointed to someone deeply disturbed. That suspicion would soon be confirmed. By now, Dusty had already raised serious concerns. He had slashed Rick's tent and threatened him. On top of that, multiple witnesses had just reported seeing him argue with James hours before the murder. However, despite how clear things seemed, there was one major complication. Dusty was claiming self-defense. He alleged that James had thrown gasoline on him and threatened to set him on fire. This wasn't a claim detectives could easily dismiss, especially given the distinct smell of gasoline at the scene, meaning there was a possibility he could get away with his crime. Even though it's clear who's behind the murder at this point, Dusty's story now carries a shred of credibility. Detectives have one goal: to break that story, either by disproving his self-defense claim using witness statements, or, ideally, by getting a confession. Either way, the investigation is about to get a lot more complicated. To move forward, detectives start by bringing in people from the encampment who knew Dusty well and interacted with him regularly. If Dusty had a pattern of violent behavior, these individuals were the most likely to have seen it firsthand.
My goal here is to kind of get, from your perspective, kind of what you saw, what you heard.
He ain't really been fucking with me at all. I ain't never had no crosswords. He's always insistent. Oh, come up there and do your laundry and all that shit, you know. Come up there and get a shower. That's what it was. Come and get a shower. Come and get a shower all the time. So I fucked up. Got a shower and give him $2 afterwards, you know. Just a gesture.
Rick explains that Dusty often offered showers and laundry to homeless individuals in the area, sometimes charging a small fee. This catches the attention of detectives. These seemingly generous acts may be a part of a larger pattern of manipulation, a way for Dusty to assert control over the homeless community. It's a detail that could support their efforts to build a stronger case against him.
I tried my best to get along with him. And, you know, he had a shower that we all used, you know, sometimes try to keep him good with him for those reasons and stuff, you know.
Yeah, I get that.
Never
my wildest dreams that I think he was capable of murdering. That's honest truth. I was just over there basically using his necessities like we all were. When we had a chance to, in the shower, usually offered it. That's his way of making friends with us, I think. I had stayed with him before and he kicked me out. I thought I was in a light, so I was taking pictures of him and stuff like that with my phone. I didn't even have a phone then. Like, I saw you taking pictures of me with your phone. I said, I don't even have a phone. He said, you gotta go. So I left. That's that.
Dusty lives in a house near the homeless camps, a property owned by his grandfather. At first, much like Rick, Busby describes Dusty as someone who seems generous, allowing members of the homeless camp to use his home for basic amenities. As investigators continue interviewing members of the homeless community, a more troubling picture of Dusty begins to emerge. He has a history of strange and violent behavior marked by paranoia and delusions. However, officers face a challenge. The interviews so far have been too vague, highlighting patterns of behavior but lacking concrete details to build a solid case. This leads detectives back to Jamie, the original 911 caller and the person with the clearest recollection of events so far, and he's able to offer meaningful insight into who Dusty really is.
Mr. Allen, my role here in all this, it's just kind of to get from your perspective, your side of things, what you saw, what you observed.
Man came to my camp last night. I used to stay up there with him. He's a violent person.
Okay.
His papa always wanted to let me stay there because he's the one who owns the property. The reason I don't stay there is because you don't do what he says and he gets all angry and threatens you and he just crazy shit. I said, well,
What does he usually carry?
He got a stick this time. But he's either got a stick, a machete, or knife. He carries like 3 or 4 knives on him. Machete, sticks, he's like, he thinks he's Rambo.
While Dusty had a reputation as a bully who routinely harassed the homeless community, no one expected his behavior to escalate to cold-blooded murder. His so-called generosity, offering his home for showers and laundry, masked a deeper need for control and manipulation. The same people he claimed to help were also the ones he intimidated and threatened, revealing a warped sense of power and superiority. In the end, this contradiction may have set the stage for the gruesome murder. When Dusty was brought in for questioning, his demeanor was strangely calm. At this point, he seems to believe that he is seen as a victim of an attack by this homeless man. He didn't seem like he was in his right mind at all. Detectives were hoping to learn about Dusty's side of the story, but instead were met with, well, a lot of nonsense.
You know I'm an owl, right?
You're what?
You know I'm an owl, right?
Okay.
You know what that means, right?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. This has been a really hard day. Sir, I waved all right there a long time ago. I still have a great sense of innocence within me. If it ain't
Still have a great sense
Throughout
of
his
innocence.
interrogation, Dusty's responses are
Like a
filled with
fucking sovereign
incoherent
citizen
delusions and deflections. In Dusty's mind, he's, quote, an owl, constantly watched, monitored, and under surveillance. It's clear that without his medication, his schizophrenia is spiraling out of control.
He does need medication.
Man, that was some crazy shit. And to still be able to get us some usable intel, you'll get why staying at that place is so dangerous for me. I know a lot of trust is getting to me, or like that, but man, thank you for saying we have to talk about this.
Dusty seems to believe he's outsmarted the cops, thinking he's there to provide valuable intel as the victim. But he will soon find out that he's actually a suspect in the cold-blooded murder of an innocent man.
I haven't shed a tear all day, I've been going hard, I'm so exhausted. How long have you done? What, this kind of work? Not very long. That was my first. I think everybody knows that. From the get-go. Thank you for this deep psychological gut
Thank you for this deep psychological...
Listening closely to Dusty's words, it seems as if he's openly admitting to the murder. Although his statement is scattered and unclear, it gives detectives the impression that he's acknowledging responsibility without fully grasping the seriousness of his actions. But Dusty's bizarre admissions wouldn't stop there, as he continues rambling incoherently.
I was busting, and then he throws the gasoline on me. You know how I was rolled up and down there. Dude, I thought I was just doing it for the other. You know what I mean? Because that was my intention. Everybody knows that. I then managed to...
Motherfucker sounds gibberish. I don't even know. He's not even making a coherent story.
in the house with blades, like before when I took the electronizer and threw it in the curb. I don't know how to do it, sir. I just know with my beautiful mind that it's a three-way. Yeah. It's the photographic, the audiogenic intake, and then the organic. Yeah. If y'all don't ever think I'm so amazed at it. that I'm just like a god.
I'm just
But
like
I
God.
never thought it would be something like that.
Uh-oh.
But my
His-
God,
his-
that thing was.
While
He's
Dusty's
got a-
ramblings
he's got a
could be
God
interpreted as an
complex.
admission that James was his first
He's got
murder, the
mental
statement is buried in a
instabilities.
mix of delusions about retinoids, his photographic memory, and other incoherent claims. The detective picks up on this and pushes
Dude's
further,
off the
trying to
rocker.
separate fact from fiction in Dusty's fractured account.
For me to verify everything that I
Yes, sir.
can see elsewhere, I gotta
Motherfucker thinks this is
I know you're not
nonfiction.
mad, that's just, I want you to ask me. Others, like, think my personality is, I can't talk to people. I can, yeah, but I don't want you to think I'm being certain. I am very that we were having this conversation.
Fiction and
Dusty
more
claims he's
fiction
not
and more
mad and that people
fiction.
don't understand how he communicates. This shows he might have a twisted view of himself, possibly because of
All the
paranoia,
fiction.
delusions, or mental illness. What's strange is how calm and relieved Dusty seems. Most guilty people would be nervous or scared during an interrogation, but Dusty is different. He seems to still believe he's the victim and doesn't grasp the seriousness of his actions. Instead of taking responsibility, he thinks people just don't understand him. This becomes even clearer when Dusty asks one final question to the detective.
Will I be able to go home? We'll figure that out. Yeah, because or am I going to jail or we're going down to dance? I didn't
Ah.
figure that kind of out because you know how this thing happens from here. I guess. I'm gonna come talk to you about it. Okay.
After this bizarre exchange, the detective had heard enough to know it was time to wrap up the interrogation. Dusty's lack of remorse and distorted grip on reality made it clear they were dealing with someone who didn't fully understand the weight of his actions. According to the pathology report, the victim, James Ledendecker, was subjected to horrific torture before his death. His body showed severe blunt force trauma, including cuts, bruises, and fractures to his face, nose, ears, and mouth. His eyes had severe bleeding, and many of his teeth were broken. The injuries also extended to his neck, with heavy bleeding in the muscles and a broken hyoid bone, suggesting he had been strangled. His torso displayed several broken ribs, and internal bleeding was found in his chest and abdomen. One of the most disturbing details from the report was that James had been exposed to gasoline. His skin had begun to slough off in areas, and a strong smell of gasoline was found on his arms, thighs, and hands. Gasoline was also detected in his lungs and stomach, indicating he had inhaled and swallowed it before he died. This made the murder even more gruesome. Dusty was processed for forensic evidence and transported to the Leon County Detention Facility. The witness statements, his vague confession, and the forensic evidence from the scene were enough to formally charge him. Dusty McDonald was charged with 1 count of first-degree murder, and as of this video's upload, his case
Yeah, he didn't
remains
even have
ongoing.
a complete alibi, and I feel like it's so bad for him. He was mentally unstable. He fucking looked like he literally did the crime because he looks like he got into a scuffle, right? A dude was cracked. He was gone.